defenses in the National Football League. Today, they want to make it a very physical game here in Cincinnati.
Like to remind you that our broadcast today can be heard in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. In the flip of the coin, the Jets won. They have deferred. Brandon Tate is back for Cincinnati, longtime Bengal, and before that, a New England Patriot, drafted high, let go, and reeled in by Cincinnati. And a kickoff for the New York Jets. Nick Folk, we just mentioned his terrific game winner last week against the New England Patriots. The Patriots led that game over the Jets at halftime, 21-10, and then the 30-27 win for New York. The Bengals beat Detroit 27-24 to give them that nice two-game lead in the North. And here we go. It's Brandon Tate from the 1. And brought down. Josh Cribbs is the one to do the tackling on the special teams for the Jets, a 19-yard return. This takes us to the quarterback, Andy Dalton, for Cincinnati. He's passed for more than 300 yards with 3 touchdowns in back-to-back games. And Solomon, in 4 games this season, he has completed 70% or better of his passes.
And this offense has gone to another level, Kevin, simply because the other guys expect Andy Dalton to throw them the ball as well. We told you he's not forcing the ball into A.J. Green. Everyone else knows they have an opportunity to make plays.
And Jarvis Green-Ellis is in the backfield. It is a 1st and 10. And Green-Ellis. And Wilkerson was in there. Looked like Harrison had a hand on the tackle, too, on a gain of a yard. Whitworth was a Pro Bowler a season ago at the left tackle. They've got Andre Smith rated in the top 6 right tackles in the NFL, and veterans on the interior. A.J. Green's matchup today, we anticipate, should be a good one with Cromartie in the secondary for the Jets. And they've got depth and talent at all those positions. 2nd down and 8 for Dalton. Blocked by Green-Ellis. And there's the pass, and a great knockaway by Cromartie. They were going for Green, incomplete pass.
Well, I tell you what, A.J. Green had a step on Antonio Cromartie. The ball's got to be thrown out in front now. Cromartie's got long arms, rangy. He's able to get a hand on that ball. A.J. Green saying if, boy, you get it out just by another inch, he could have himself a touchdown.
Cromartie had a pretty good game last week against the New England Patriots, but in the 3 prior to that, he had been struggling.
Oh, he had pretty good recovery on that play. He was beat initially at the line of scrimmage.
Hey, let's go. 800 Jets. 800 Jets. Hard.
5 defensive backs on 3rd down and 8, and they go inside, caught by Gresham. And he picks up 10. 3rd and 8 was the play, and he's up to the 32 with a 1st down.
It's going to be a real interesting matchup. Antonio Allen shut down Rob Gronkowski last week. Today he's covering Gresham, number 39. Had an interception, return for a touchdown off Tom Brady, covering Gronkowski today. Looks to take on both tight ends, either Tyler Eifert or Jermaine Gresham.
Allen had that interception last week, returning at 23 yards for a touchdown, but he had his hands full with Gronkowski last week, didn't he?
Middle, 1-2.
1st down and 10.
Lando's up.
Underneath they go. This is the rookie out of Notre Dame, Eifert. And he was hit by Demario Davis. And he picks up 7 on the play near the 40-yard line. Terrific line. Richardson was a 1st-round pick. Wilkerson is amongst the best at that position in the entire NFL. Here are the linebackers, and David Harris leads that defense in tackles. Sally just talked about Antonio Allen. And the battle today with Green and Cromartie will be one of our focuses. 2nd down and 3.
Lando's up.
Giovanni Bernard right into the grasp of the strong safety DeJuan Landry for the gain of 5 up to the 44.
The Bengals expect to be able to run the football today, and this is not an easy defense to run upon. We told you the Jets come in with the 2nd best run defense in the National Football League. You'll see them play with either 5 or 6 defensive backs. You saw DeJuan Landry come up. He was well up in the hole and making the tackle on Gio Bernard. The defensive backs, they blitz the quarterback well, and they play the run equally as well.
Number 12 offense of Cincinnati, 4 in the secondary right now with the 1st and 10. And going deep, he's got some and then he drops the ball as he comes down. The coverage by the Jets in the secondary, and the #1 pick out of Alabama, D. Milliner, incomplete.
We told you that Dalton has been so consistent over the last couple of weeks. This ball was well thrown out in front of Mohamed Sanu. We saw him underthrow A.J. Green earlier. Now he just by a hair. And I think Sanu should go ahead and make that catch. He had it on his hands. He hit the ground and the ball came out. So the Bengals are inches away from having two big pass plays to begin the game.
Back to the nickel. Kyle Wilson has come in for the Jets. 2nd down and 10 for Cincinnati on the game-opening drive. And it's a tackle made by Muhammad Wilkerson. It's Green Ellis, the ex-Patriot, up to the 49-yard line, gain of 5.
Interesting formation used by the Cincinnati Bengals with 4 eligible receivers outside the numbers, trying to eliminate the amount of defenders in the box so they can run the football. What did Dalton tell us? If they go with their nickel package with 5 defensive backs, we're going to go ahead and run the football. They feel they have the advantage against that package.
Sonsenbacher is that slot receiver, 3rd and 5.
Hey, no! Hey, let's go! 358! What is 358? Give me that! Atlanta's up!
3rd and 5 for Dalton. Pretty good 3rd down offense. And outside Sonsenbacher, the ex-Chicago Bear, his 4th catch of the season. Outside curling, picks up the 1st down. It's a gain of 9 to the 42 of the Jets.
And what you're getting, Kevin, they're going no huddle. And look, you can see he's looking outside. Sonsenbacher is working against Kyle Wilson, the nickel cornerback. The no huddle allows them to be able to count the defenders to get a better read on what the Jets are doing defensively. And you're going to see Dalton's going to check at the line of scrimmage. He's getting a good read on what they want to do so he can have the advantage with the play check.
Bernard is now, here comes the 9th play of the drive. They've had a lot of long drives this season against this Cincinnati offense. Flag on 1st and 10. Gresham caught it. And a false start by Cincinnati's offense.
False start, number 77 offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 1st down.
That's the Pro Bowl left tackle, Andrew Whitworth.
And sometimes when you're making all those checks at the line of scrimmage, you can see Whitworth saying, we got to hurry it up. He was in his stance for quite a while. He ended up moving before the snap of the ball. Now it puts the Bengals offense at a disadvantage. You can see they scored 3 times on the opening possession so far this season.
And the penalty makes it 1st and 15. Giovanni Bernard, the rookie out of North Carolina. And he is hit by Harrison, who picks up 4. Harrison had a sack last week against New England. Breakout season for this player, 2 years out of William Penn.
Very impressed with the ability of the rookie running back, Gio Bernard. He can read the defense on the run. You can see now they're going with no huddle. And you can see Andy Dalton setting the defense based on this nickel package he's getting from the Jets defense.
These plays are all scripted by Cincinnati starting the game.
1st 15, absolutely. But he has the ability to check out of those plays depending on what Dalton sees with the defensive set.
2nd and 11, going deep for Sanu. This time is matched up with Antonio Cromartie. Flag thrown, a late one in the end zone. And we'll see what that's all about.
It was a late one. They're going to say that Cromartie somehow tugged away at Mohamed Sanu. There was some hand fighting going up and down the sideline. And remember, Cromartie's a little bit nicked up. Not quite 100%. Dealing with some injuries. And
Pass interference, number 31, defense. Automatic. 1st down.
It is on Cromartie, who is dealing with a hip injury. You're right.
Dealing with a hip injury. There you see at the bottom of the screen. Now, you're beyond that 5-yard mark. See, he's beat now. Watch him reach out and grab right there. And that's what knocked Mohamed Sanu off stride. Knocked him off the timing of his ability to get to the ball thrown from Andy Dalton. Really good call by the officials. Very good eye.
So on this drive, they've hit Sonsenbacher for 9 through the air. The tight end Gresham for 10. They just get a 34-yard penalty. 1st and goal at the Jet 9.
Bengals offense very aggressive, Kevin, taking shots. Feel like they can make some plays with their wide receivers matched up against these defensive backs.
As you just saw, this is the most penalized team in pro football coming into this week. And that is caught by Marvin Jones. And a Cincinnati 9-yard touchdown pass from Dalton.
Well, we told you that they love spreading the ball around, that he's not going to force the ball into A.J. Green. Marvin Jones has been one of the really coming on surprising players for the Bengals. Look at this. Matched up against D. Milliner, their first-round pick for the Jets. Back shoulder throw. Jones adjusts to the ball, and boy, this Bengals offense is clicking as it has been for the last 2 weeks.
Dalton hit 4 different receivers on that drive.
Spreading it around the way he should. It makes this offense much better here in Cincinnati.
Nugent. And it's 7-0 Cincinnati. Just under 10 to play in the first quarter. Marvin Jones has a touchdown reception for the 3rd consecutive game, this time on the opening drive against the Jets. Dalton effective on that drive, in particular on 3rd down.
He was sharp on 3rd down. 3rd and 9, 10-yard completion to Gresham. 3rd and 5, 9-yard completion to Dane Sanzenbacher. So their ability to execute on 3rd down. Remember, the Jets defense is one of the best on 3rd down, ranked 3rd in the NFL in that situation, but Dalton able to pick them apart.
Josh Cribbs is deep back for the Jets. That sails over his head. It'll be a touchback to the 20, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the rookie from West Virginia, Geno Smith, and the Jets down early in Cincinnati, 7-0 on CBS.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Fruit of the Loom. Start happy. And by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Here come the Jets down after a 9-yard touchdown pass and a game-opening drive by Andy Dalton of Cincinnati. The touchback on the kickoff from the 21st down and 10. Powell in the backfield with Smith. Here comes James Harrison. And the rookie throws it away. There are the numbers on Geno Smith last week. Solomon against the Patriots. 17 of 33, a touchdown, an interception, and a touchdown on the ground for him.
Vitally important for Geno Smith to not turn the ball over today on the road here in Cincinnati. They have to rely on the run game. And what did his defensive players tell him when they took him out for dinner before the start of the season? We don't need you to go out and win ball games. We need you to protect the football, use the run game, and rely on the defense.
Then they told him to pick up the tab. 2nd down and 10. Here comes a designed run for the quarterback, Smith. That is the 29th run he has had this year, but the 8th design, the gain of 3 right there. The offensive line, the left side of the line, struggled last week. Ferguson and the rookie winners each gave up 2 sacks apiece to the New England Patriots. And Curley is the #1 receiver in the absence of Holmes. Curley coming off his best game. Santonio again inactive today, 4th consecutive game he has missed because of the hamstring. Here is a 3rd down and 7. 5 defensive backs for Cincinnati. The blitz from Nelson. Down he goes, sacked back at the 14-yard line. Nelson pushed it. Johnson, I think, is the one who grabbed him. It's the first sack. It's a loss of 8. It's back to the 15. The Jets have got a punt.
Nick Mango's trying to call it out, but here you see, there's Nelson there. But look, they overload to that side, and they turn Nelson free. See right there, and then you can see the running back, Powell, or I should say Ivory, comes out late and not able to get Nelson, who comes around to get the sack on the rookie quarterback.
Ryan Quigley will punt for the New York Jets. Brandon Tate back at about the 40-yard line. Little win, negligible win inside Paul Brown Stadium this afternoon. Hang time of 4-3, and here comes Tate. It's by Davis. Flag is down. Cribbs slowed him up, and then he was eventually brought down on the play by Nick Bellore. And the punt of 56, the return of 13, as we take a look once again at a busy Pete Morelli to start this contest here in Cincinnati.
During return, holding on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
The defense was right there for Cincinnati. It's number 9 in the NFL and flexing their muscles early.
Welcome back to Paul Brown Stadium as the Bengals lead 7-0 in the first quarter. You know, last week the Jets matched up against the Patriots multiple wide receiver sets by using what we call a nickel defense featuring 5 defensive backs, 2 outside corners, 2 deep safeties, and 1 slot corner as the 5th DB. Now, when they go with 6 DBs, we call it a dime defense. You have 2 outside corners, 2 safeties, and 2 slot corners. Rex Ryan will use the entire roster to give Andy Dalton multiple looks in order to confuse the quarterback. You see defensive coordinator Dennis Thurman. They're going to rotate a lot of defensive backs in this game, Kevin. It's all meant to confuse the protection and get pressure on the quarterback.
It's Green Ellis on first down and 10, and they roll him up the middle and then hit by Antonio Allen and a bunch of others. It's a gain of 6, and he's up to the 38-yard line. This is the first year that Thurman has been the defensive coordinator for the Jets.
Yeah, and they're trying to stop Andy Dalton, who's been red hot as of late. And no one uses 5 and 6 defensive backs as much as the New York Jets. And they stifled Tom Brady 1 week ago, held him to only 1 of 12 on third down. Dennis Thurman calling one well of a game in a win against the Patriots.
Right now, the Jets have 4 back there on their second down and 4. Underneath he goes. A.J. Green brought down by Antonio Allen. Spun down at the 47. Picks up 9. A first down for Cincinnati.
They're spreading it around. Dennis Thurman was asked this week, what do you do to stop A.J. Green? He said, you lay hands on him and then you pray. He just said, this guy is so good. And the way that they move him around in the slot playing outside, they have so many ways to get him the football that ultimately he's going to get his numbers.
McIntyre taking the place of Copeland. On the defense, first and 10. That's caught by Tyler Eifert. He's brought down in the second down by DeJuan Landry. It's a gain of 16, and that is another first down to the 37 of the Jets.
Remember, the Jets come in here with the 3rd most sacks on the quarterback, 24 in all. Watch the protection on the offensive line. Look, it's clean. 4 defenders rushing. Clean pocket for Andy Dalton. If they can't get pressure on Dalton, there's no way they're going to be able to stop this Bengals offense.
The Jets have been good, too. They're 3rd in sacks in the NFL coming into today. Had 4 last week against New England. Green Ellis on first and 10. Antonio Allen brings him down. Davis was there as well. It's a gain of 3. We talked to Antonio Allen last night, a former college linebacker at South Carolina, now playing at the safety position in the NFL.
And he's very comfortable in coverage. We told you how he shut down Rob Gronkowski, the talented tight end for the Patriots 1 week ago. This guy was an All-American linebacker at South Carolina. He was a 7th-round pick simply because they moved him to safety, and during his workouts, he had never played that position before. He's playing very well now because he can blitz the quarterback, and boy, can he cover.
Second down and 7. Nice catch made downfield by Jones all the way to the 5. Brought down by Milliner. Hard-earned yards by an emerging player in the wide receiving corps, as if they needed another here in Cincinnati. Marvin Jones pick up a 30.
D. Milliner is trying to defend against Marvin Jones. And right now, look, he gets the ball right over the head of David Harris, who never saw the ball coming. This is a great throw. Great anticipation by Dalton. He knew that Harris, 52, wasn't looking. He was able to drop it right over him into the waiting arms of Marvin Jones, who's having a field day against the rookie first-round pick, D. Milliner.
Jones, a former 5th-round pick out of Cal, second-year player, first and goal at the 4. Green Ellis, and slowed down right there by Calvin Pace, who runs around the side. No gain on the play, second down and goal.
You know, the Jets defense, they had allowed a touchdown on the opening drive. Now they've done it for 4 games so far this season, most in the National Football League, and now they're trying to prevent the Bengals from going in for another score on this second possession. Rex Ryan, a really good defensive coach. Right now they have their hands full trying to stop Andy Dalton and all the weapons that he has at his disposal on this offense.
He's got a time, you're right. Kendrick Ellis is on that defensive line for New York. Second and goal at the 4. Dalton, touchdown. Gresham.
Might as well give A.J. Green an assist on his touchdown, Kevin, because the defenders all bit on A.J. Green, who was right around the goal line, and then it just allowed Gresham to get to the back end. Look at everyone just sitting on A.J. Green in the corner of that end zone. Gresham runs right behind him, So it's a combination route where they use A.J. Green as the decoy to free up Gresham in the back of the end zone.
Dalton on that drive was 4 of 4 and 8 of 10 to start this game against this very solid Jets defense. The extra point from Nugent, and it's 14-0. Cincinnati scoring on their very first 2 possessions. 2 touchdown passes by the quarterback, Andy Dalton. That one to the tight end, Gresham, from 4 yards away.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And by Verizon. Powerful answers.
Great autumn afternoon here in Ohio, and Andy Dalton has just been terrific in his start. 2 touchdown passes. Their red zone offense has been wonderful all season long. They've had 17 trips into the red zone, where Dalton has thrown now 12 touchdown passes. Here is Josh Cribbs, former Cleveland Brown, 7 years there, and upended on the play by Jason Dimash, who's a rookie from Southern Illinois. A 24-yard return. Dalton getting the good word from upstairs in a 14-0 lead. Couple of Dalton touchdown passes against the Jets, who are trying to win 2 straight for the first time this season. Cincinnati unbeaten, 3-0 at home. And here we go, 1st and 10. Powell with the block by Cologne, but then they come in waves, and he's brought down by Burfict, who throws him for a 3-yard loss back to the 17-yard line. Fantasy football fans, check out CBSSports.com Player Challenge, a new 4-week game with a cash prize in every league. See rules and sign up at CBSSports.com/challenge. 2nd down, 13. 4 defensive backs for Cincinnati. Ivory is in. Smith, almost incomplete. Hill was in the vicinity. That was who the pass was intended to. Incomplete pass. 3rd and 13 now.
Kevin, the Jets came in wanting to run the football. They came in not having to rely on their rookie quarterback. Rex Ryan wants to win this game by ground and pound with the run game and heavy on defense. Now down 14-0 early on. You're putting Geno Smith in a tough situation. This Bengals defense is plenty good of getting pressure on the quarterback with their 4 talented pass rushers, and Geno Atkins is one of the best as an interior pass rusher. Can't allow Geno Smith to start throwing the ball and turning it over right now.
Powell's into the nickel. 3rd and 13 underneath. That's the running back, Bilal Powell, who runs up the side and ran out of real estate and picks up 17 on 3rd and 13. A first down to the 34.
Not well played by the Cincinnati Bengals. Watch, here's Powell. He's going to come out right there. He checks late. And now, look, see, that's Chris Crocker. He's got to get over there and make that tackle. You can't allow him to get to the first down marker. Give Powell a lot of credit. Releasing late, catching the ball, and then making sure that he hit the first down marker.
Powell, 3rd-year player out of Louisville. 1st and 10. Ferguson with the block in time for Smith, and he goes into the secondary, then brought down by Harrison, the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, former Defensive Player of the Year. It is a gain of 5, and he takes it up to the 39-yard line.
I think the Jets may find that they may have some opportunities to make some plays throwing the ball. If they can protect Geno Smith, they may be able to make some plays, because Chris Crocker is now playing that nickel cornerback position. Leon Hall out for the season, injured with that Achilles tendon injury. They may find they can have a matchup against the veteran safety, who's now playing nickel corner for the Bengals in passing situations.
And Hall was their best defensive back. Here's Chris Ivory, grabbed by Pecco, hit by Harrison, driven back. Loss of 2, bringing up 3rd and 7. Pecco, a long-time figure on their defensive line for Cincinnati, back to the 37-yard line.
Pecco's somewhat underrated, but look, he finds the football. The way he squeezes with great leverage, and then there's Harrison. There's Carlos Dunlap, but give Petco credit for maintaining leverage on the play. He's surprised they pulled him out of the game. He wanted to stay in on this 3rd and 7 play.
Making his 59th consecutive start today.
A really good player for this football team. Team leader in the locker room.
Into the nickel, 3rd and 7. The blitz from Nelson again and again knocks him down. Reggie Nelson coming through, had a half sack earlier. Throws him for an 11-yard loss right here. Back to the 26, and the Jets have got a punt again.
They wanted to get it to the tight end. 87 Cumberland's going to come here, but watch the pressure there. They are able to protect. Look at the coverage on Cumberland right there. See, Gino has to hold on to the ball. Coverage sack because they took away the hot read to Cumberland. Nelson comes unblocked, gets his 2nd sack of the game.
Ryan Quigley to punt for his 2nd time. Brandon Tate back at the 24-yard line for Cincinnati. Demario Davis was there to hit him, but the initial hit was by Troy Davis, rookie out of Central Florida, for the Jets special teams on a 6-yard return. 49-yard punt. What a great start for Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton's been on fire. Began the game 8 of 10, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Marvin Jones, another to Jermaine Gresham. Jones has been huge for Andy Dalton in this ball game. You go back to a couple of weeks ago against the Bills, he completed passes to 7 different receivers in that game. And then last week against the Lions, spread it around to 8 different receivers. He's off to a good start right now. I think we got 5 different guys who've caught the ball from Andy Dalton. Spread it around like that, the offense goes to another level.
Bernard was in the backfield, 1st and 10, going deep, looking for Green. Oh, and he's got the ball, beating Cromartie. All the way to the 11-yard line of the Jets, a 53-yard strike, and they are burning Cromartie this afternoon.
I agree with their defensive coordinator, Dennis Thurman. He said, you pray. Watch how A.J. Green tracks the ball. He sees the ball, puts his head down, runs further up the field to go get it. Cromartie doesn't stand a chance. Look at A.J. Green, the way he sights, plays the ball, and high points it. Cromartie can't believe he comes down with it, even if he had help from the safety, DeJuan Landry.
Green, number 3 in receiving yards coming into this week, number 7 in overall receptions. 1st and 10 from the 11. That's the end of the first quarter from Cincinnati. A.J. Green, the 2-time Pro Bowler, and his offense running roughshod over the Jets after 14-7. Those are some numbers we did not expect to see through 1 quarter of play here in Cincinnati.
172 yards total offense for Cincinnati, only 1 yard on 9 plays by the New York Jets. Right now, Rex Ryan searching his play sheet for how to stop this Cincinnati Bengals offense.
1st and 10 from the 11. Giovanni Bernard by pace to the pylon, and looks like he's shy by, they're saying touchback.
They're saying he fumbled the ball. Did it go out of the back of the end zone? Wow. This could be the play that Rex Ryan was looking for. Something to derail this Bengals offense, and now they're calling it a turnover. Take a look at it.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is the runner fumbled the ball through the end zone. It is a touchback.
There it is. The ball hit the chalk. The ball had broken the plane of the goal line. Did he fumble it? Did he fumble it before he hit? They're going to take a look at it, obviously, because it's a turnover. That's what it's ruled on the field. Ball hits the ground right there. And they're saying he fumbled it out of the end zone, which would constitute a touchback, but is his knee down? Knee down right there. There it is. Knee down.
Review just seconds into the second quarter in Cincinnati. It was 1st and 10 for Cincinnati at the New York Jet 11.
I think the visual evidence is going to show that his knee was down. There is contact by Calvin Pace. The knee is down right there, but the ball does penetrate the goal line before it comes loose. So even if he's not ruled down, which I think he should be because the knee is down there, he had been touched by Calvin Pace as he had been lunging toward the goal line, knee down. But watch the ball. It does penetrate the goal line before it comes loose. And they're going to look at that. You have visual evidence, but see, that ball penetrates the goal line, Kevin, and then it comes loose.
I think he's going to be short of the 1.
I think the Bengals can feel comfortable and see the smile with Marvin Lewis that they're going to get the ball back, because it appeared as though his knee was down and he had been touched. Of course, down by contact after being touched by Calvin Pace in the knee, making contact with the ground. Let's go back and take a look at it. Okay, Calvin Pace touches him right there on the hip. You see, then there it is, knee down right there. So you could see he was touched, the knee was down, well before the ball came out.
After reviewing the play, the runner was touched and down by contact. The ball will be placed at the 1.5 yard line.
Remember, you got to take a look at it, and obviously it was ruled a turnover, so they were going to look at it anyway, Kevin. But this is why we have instant replay, and make sure that we get it right. And I'm sure Rex Ryan wishes they had gotten a break there, because it looked like they were going to get a break and get the ball, and shaking his head. Now his defense has to go back out and defend this red-hot Bengals offense and a 2nd and 1 opportunity.
On this drive, the big play, a 53-yard pass completion to A.J. Green. And the run by Bernard at the 1, 2nd down and 1.
Pecco is in at fullback. What do you think is going to happen here?
With Green Ellis in back of him. Pecco leading the way. Into the teeth of that defense. Ellis with the stop. Gain of a yard, and they should have enough for a 1st down.
We talked to Pecco. He says, yeah, I'm the starting fullback. When we go in on the goal line, I'm coming in the game. He is, a matter of fact, he said he's the next Refrigerator Perry. Remember the '85 Chicago Bears did it with their interior defensive tackle. Pecco is proud of the opportunity to play on offense in these situations.
He was short. This spot shy of the 1 for 3rd and inches with a couple of tight ends.
They may throw it to him, Kevin.
Don't. Incomplete to Eifert. And the coverage there by Landry.
That went right off the hands of Tyler Eifert. It's a good throw by Andy Dalton. Now, Marvin Lewis, 4th and inches. Do you go in and go for it? I think he's going to leave him out there. Up 14-0. Marvin Lewis is going to send the offense up to the goal line to see if they can get a touchdown here.
3 tight ends. And Jarvis, Green Ellis, and a great goal line stand by the New York Jets. And look who's at the bottom of the pile, the rookie from Missouri, Sheldon Richardson, and others combining on the stop.
Wow, look at this. 91, Richardson, as you mentioned, he's knifes in. Juan Landry's able to get in there, get penetration. Look at 91, spin off this play right here. And there you also see David Harris, 52. So between the 3, they get penetration on that right side of the Bengals offensive line. They turn back this Bengals offense that had been red hot. 1st round pick Richardson, he has been one well of a find for the New York Jets on their defensive line.
Let's now see if that defense has sparked the offense. Chris Ivory in the backfield, Bohannon the fullback. Nelson on the move. They clock at 2, and Geno Smith to Ivory. He's coming off a 34-carry, 104-yard performance against the Patriots last week. Gain of 3 up near the 4. Let's look at that number right there. All those quarters going by.
Wow, 1 yard on offense in the 1st quarter today. Fewest of any, in any quarter, I should say, for the New York Jets since August 27, 2009. And they had -3. Against Tennessee in September of 2009. So this offense has to pick it up here in the 2nd quarter.
Second down and 7 for Geno Smith. Underneath he goes. Perfect makes the stop. Gain of 5 for Nelson, the wide receiver, his 8th catch of the year. And he's up just beyond the 10-yard line.
Remember, this New York Jets offense is operating without Santonio Holmes. They do have their talented wide receiver, Jeremy Clary, who's been really good in this offense as of late. Stephen Hill has improved, but it's the tight ends they've relied upon, and David Nelson, as well as 87 Jeff Cumberland. They have to begin to make some plays for their rookie quarterback.
Curley, by the way, has not caught a pass today. 3rd and 2. This is Powell. Chris Crocker, the 11-year veteran, stops him at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It's 4th down.
Well, Crocker's a guy that wasn't even in training camp with this football team, and you'd see he just comes right off the side here late. He's not accounted for in their blocking scheme because he was able to disguise the coverage. And the veteran presence of Chris Crocker, just one heck of a play. This is a guy that missed all of training camp in his 11th season. They called him in late, and he's been a really good football player since they picked him up.
3 and out. Adam Jones will get the Quigley punt back near the 45, and down he goes, but his own guy ran into him, Cribbs. Oh, what a nice defensive play, and then getting back up. But Ellis Lankster came through, and a special teams tackle right there, limiting Jones to just a 1-yard gain. A goal line stand by the Jet defense stops the Bengals, who still lead 14-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Surface, the one device for everything in your life. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Ford, only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report from our CBS studios in New York, join JP, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest news, scores, and highlights on a busy day in the NFL. Coming up next on the Verizon Halftime Report. Andy Dalton has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Their offense has been great. Jones caught 1, Solomon for 9. Gresham, the tight end, caught a 4-yarder. And it's 1st and 10 after the 3 and out by the Jets, who have had it 3 times themselves. 2 3 and outs from the 42 of Cincinnati. Bernard. And the quarterback shoved out of bounds right there by Muhammad Wilkerson. And a loss about a half-yard on the play near the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10. This Wilkerson is some kind of player.
Yeah, he is one heck of a player. He's a leader. And I think the cornerstone of their defense, remember, they've drafted in the first round on the defensive line each of the last 3 years. 2011, they took Wilkerson. And they've continued to draft on the first round with Quentin Coples and Sheldon Richardson over the last 2 years.
Dalton looks in the 4 in the secondary. 2nd down and 12. He had Bernard in the backfield. A little bit high for Gresham with the coverage on the play by Antonio Allen.
We told you Antonio Allen was going to take the tight end, Gresham or either Eifert. You can see him just in good position there. He forced Dalton to sort of overthrow this one because watch Allen. He's in the hip pocket. Little hole there, but see right there in the hip pocket. That ball's thrown a little bit behind Gresham. And Allen's going to cut underneath the way he did 1 week ago to pick off Tom Brady and return it for a touchdown.
Wilson has gone in the secondary for the Jets. They have 5 back there on this 3rd and 12. They need the 48 of New York. Look at the time for Dalton. Almost, it was intercepted, picked up on the play by Wilkerson. The defense has come through with 2 very good series, a goal line stand that last time, and this time Wilkerson intercepting Dalton.
Well, Dalton tried to bait him. Look, they're trying to get the ball over on a screenplay to Gio Bernard right here. And then Wilkerson's able to bat it up to himself. And all Dalton was trying to do was pump fake him. Watch him pump fake to lure Wilkerson, but Wilkerson stays right in front of it. The ball's batted twice. After Wilkerson hits it, Richardson tips it back into the arms of 96 Wilkerson, who makes the catch on the 2nd try.
Also makes his first career interception. Now with great beginning field position from the Cincinnati 30. Ivory in the backfield, 1st and 10. Smith going deep and looking for Cumberland, who had double coverage back there with Iloka and Burfict. And the incompletion, 2nd down and 10.
Well, you watch the tape on these New York Jets. When they want to go deep, Cumberland, the tight end, he's the best weapon that Geno Smith has in terms of going deep down the field. And Iloka's helping over the top of Burford, who's playing blind there. Cumberland may come down with it against the linebacker Burford if George Iloka doesn't come over the top to bat the ball away.
Ivory remains, second down and 10. Oh, what a stick by Ray Malaluga. And a flag thrown and a hold on the play. Loss of 2 as it stands. Hold is on the Jets.
Wow. Ray Malaluga came with bad intentions.
Holding. Number 67, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still, second down.
That's rookie Brian Winters out of Kent State.
Be the left guard. Yeah, he was holding on that play. Not enough to disallow Ray Malaluga from shooting the cap. Wow. That's just a good read by Ray Malaluga. He was tipped off on that play, was shooting the A-gap, something they need to do more of. But you can see 49 tackles this season for Ray Malaluga.
And he's battling a hamstring. He says he's not 100%.
He looked 110% right there.
Bengals in the nickel, second down and 20. Powell is in. Smith, Nelson, knocked out of bounds by Adam Jones. And the gain to the 34-yard line, picking up 6. Making it now 3rd and 14.
Told you that they go with their 12 personnel. They go with 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and they've got to be able to stretch the field maybe a little bit more to allow this offense to be just more explosive in the passing game, facing a 3rd and 14. Now, no team is better than converting plays of 3rd and 10 or longer than the New York Jets.
They need the 20, 3rd and 14. Geno Smith. Jones was defending Nelson, who is shy of the first down. Gets to the 27. He picks up 7 on the play. So it's 4th down and 7 to go, and they'll try for 3.
Good presence of mind, as you see by Geno Smith. He doesn't take off running with this one. He's got a very strong arm. I'm impressed with the velocity he has on his ball, and then the accuracy as well. You talk with many of the players. See, this kid's making a lot of plays in practice and just growing each and every week.
Well, here's Nick Folk, who had the 42-yard overtime field goal last week against the Patriots to win that one. 45-yard try right here. The hold by Quigley, and it's 14-3. The Jets get on the board and cash in to a degree on the Wilkerson interception. 9:09 in the first half. Back in Cincinnati tomorrow, it's a great night of comedy on CBS, beginning with new episodes of How I Met Your Mother and 2 Broke Girls, followed by a special Big Bang Theory and a new mom. It all starts tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. 2 touchdown passes by Dalton. 2 nice defensive series by the New York Jets have evened out the game a bit. The ensuing kickoff after the full 45-yard field goal, Brandon Tate. And a tackle there by Antonio Allen and by Ellis Lankster on a 15-yard return.
The Jets defense is beginning to assert itself in this game, getting the goal line stand against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are knocking on the door for points. David Harris knifing in to stop the play, and then Muhammad Wilkes coming up with a big play to get the interception to set him up for 3 points on the scoreboard. And Wilkerson, as you take a look at Dennis Thurman, Wilkerson, we said, is the cornerstone of this defense. He's a wonderful leader, and then the athleticism and physicality he brings to the table. What did Rex Ryan say about him? I'll take my guy at 315 over the smaller Geno Atkins.
I don't think Atkins is that small. My goodness. 4 in the secondary, 1st and 10. This is Green Ellis hit by Antonio Allen, who came into today over the last 2 weeks, Solomon, with 24 combined tackles over the last 2 games. He is a hitter, and we can see he can cover.
Oh, he can cover, he can blitz, he can tackle. Many of these defensive backs, you've already seen what they can do in terms of Ellis Lankster on the special teams. He'll also come in and play that 6th defensive back. All of these DBs here with the New York Jets, they can run, they can hit, and they can tackle.
Green Ellis on 2nd down and 4. Put up just a little bit that time by Richardson, and he was finished off in the next level by Harris on a gain of 5. He's up to the 25-yard line. And the Jets, who have won 4 games and lost 3, and you can see with the Patriots win today where they stand. But they came into the day just a game out of first place in that East.
These Jets are one of those young teams. No one expected them to be 4-3 after 7 games so far this year playing with a rookie quarterback. If they can eke out a win here today in Cincinnati after playing 8 games, that would be shocking to just about everyone around the NFL.
Jets have had 3 game-winning field goals so far. First and 10 for Dalton. And looked like Sanu reeled it in. He did. Working on the rookie D. Milliner. What a catch. And a terrific throw near midfield. 25-yard pickup and a Cincinnati first down.
All of last year, everyone asked who's going to be that receiver to play opposite of A.J. Green. They found a couple of them in Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones. We saw Sanu not able to haul in one earlier in the game. He makes sure he rewards his quarterback, Andy Dalton, by hauling that one in. Good throw, and even better catch.
Sanu out of Rutgers, where he played some quarterback, played some safety, an NFL wide receiver. Flea flicker, Bernard, back to Dalton, who is hit by Harrison, and nobody home downfield. They had Sanu in the middle of the field. They had A.J. Green about 5 yards away on the incompletion.
It was well defended. Got to give the Jets a lot of credit, because you're going to get, you're going to see here, and then one's going to come across the field there. And they had them both covered, Sanu and A.J. Green. 2 defenders near each receiver.
Dalton is at 7 different receivers so far in the game.
And he's going to have to keep working on it, because the interception is one I'm sure he wishes he had back.
Especially to a defensive lineman. Wilkerson, second down and 10. Outside they go. They got by Milner, and this is Marvin Jones, who breaks the tackle of McIntyre. He gets a block downfield from Eifert and takes it inside the 10. Brought down by Landry, a catch and run of 45. That is a career high. The Bengals first and goal at the 6.
Marvin Jones has made plays going back to week 6 against Buffalo, last week in Detroit, and then again he beats Milliner, then he shakes the rest of the defenders to create yards after the catch. His ability to get down the field, but he's been really good at this. They've designed plays for him, and even when they haven't, he's turned just the mediocre catches into big plays for the passing offense.
Anthony Collins is an extra offensive lineman. He is next to the left tackle. Timeout taken by Dalton. Seeing something he didn't like, and there was 1 second left on the play clock, and their clock here in the second quarter at 6:26. We've talked about the Jets. The Bengals come in with 3 consecutive wins, a 5-2 record. They've won 4 one-score games coming into today. As you just took a look at Marvin Jones, who's now got a touchdown reception in 3 consecutive games, had one earlier today. With NFL Mobile's free trial, get 30 minutes of free live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone. Now through October 29th. Just go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Message and data rates may apply. It's first and goal at the 6. 4 linebackers. Dalton on first and 6. First and goal at the 6, and he looks to the corner. He couldn't find his main target, Green. Cromartie was right there. It's got to be tough on the Jets. You've got 2 injured cornerbacks. You know, Milliner has battled a hamstring, and we know that Cromartie has got a hip injury, among others.
They just took D. Milliner out of the game. We saw Cromartie defend on that play. Darren Walls, a 3rd-year corner out of Notre Dame, has come in to replace D. Milliner, who had been benched week 2. He's the 9th overall pick in the draft out of Alabama, and he was benched week 2 against the Patriots. And what did Rex Ryan tell us? There comes a time you have to sit, watch, and learn so that they can help him to continue to develop.
5 defensive backs now. Second goal at the 6, and that is incomplete. Looking for Eifert in the coverage on the play by Darren Walls.
And there's Walls. He's the guy that's come in to replace Milliner, who's been beaten repeatedly in this game so far by the likes of Marvin Jones. Walls come in at other times and has given them steady play. You see him matched up against Eifert there. Good position, hand fighting for placement there, and able to get the ball away from Eifert to prevent the touchdown.
Easy. Let's go, white 358.
Giovanni Bernard, the rookie out of North Carolina, is in 3rd and goal at the 6. Touchdown. Hauled in by Marvin Jones, working on Walls, his 2nd touchdown reception today.
So Walls replaces the rookie D. Milliner, and Marvin Jones beats him as well. He's beaten them both on this drive, and now he gets his 2nd touchdown of the game. The top of your screen, just a back shoulder throw, and he's done that very well. You can see good chemistry between the quarterback, Andy Dalton, and his intended receiver, Marvin Jones.
Jones has 5 catches this season in the red zone, and all 5 have been for touchdowns.
How about this? Dalton now 3 touchdown passes in each of their last 3 games.
He's got 231 passing yards so far. That makes it 21-3 with the Nugent extra point. Andy Dalton with 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Marvin Jones.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by T. Rowe Price, understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence.
That's the Freedom Center, which is just right outside Paul Brown Stadium, next to where the Reds play, across the parking lot. Beautiful complex here in the revitalized downtown Cincinnati. Marvin Jones, 2nd touchdown reception today. Big numbers for the 2nd-year wide receiver out of Cal. We came into this game talking about A.J. Green, who himself has caught a couple passes, 1 for 53 yards, but Jones stealing the show. Here is Cribs doing knee and 8 yards deep with a touchback. Out to the 20-yard line for another possession for the Jets. Hey, this week, don't miss the show that is in a league by itself with guys who take on all 32 teams and each other every week. Join James Brown, Phil Simms, and Chris Collinsworth with the artistry of NFL films and the chemistry of the guys. It's Inside the NFL, the show that the pros watch. Every Wednesday at 9, only on Showtime. Powell in the backfield with Smith on a 1st and 10. Howard the block at the right tackle, and they go underneath, and it's caught by Nelson, who gets by Newman, and then spins off by Loca and gets a twirling 1st down, a 26-yard pickup to the 46 of the Jets.
Newman's not able to contain coverage on this play. It's a really good throw by Geno Smith. Nelson is a handful for many of these defensive backs. Before this possession, the Jets offense had been held without a 1st down on 3 of their first 4 possessions, and now after completing that pass over to Nelson, looks like this offense may be getting into rhythm.
Crocker stays in as a nickel. It's 1st down and 10 for the Jets. They go underneath. Nelson again, Newman there to meet him. To the 46-yard line of Cincinnati, and a pickup of 7. He hobbles a bit as he has to trudge his way to the sideline.
And they're already thin. I mean, Nelson was a guy they picked up, and he's been really good for them. But they are already thin at the wide receiver position, having to play 2 tight ends just because the wide receivers, they're very short in that area.
So they bring in Michael Campbell, who was signed from the Jets practice squad October 5th.
Oh, wait, go!
And they release Michael Spadola. 2nd down and 3. Powell slipping his way for 2 to the 45. Hit by a couple, including Burfict. And they also had Brandon Thompson in there, and a yard shy of a 1st down.
He's going to be a little bit short. 3rd and 1. If you're the New York Jets at this point, you've got to be able to sustain drives. You've got to be able to keep your offense on the field. Feel that if they can just stay within distance, striking distance, their defense sooner or later is going to play better. Can't see you just going up and down the field for the entire game against this Jets defense.
Chris Ivory, 3rd and 1. Ivory bulldozing his way for the 1st down. He's a load, 222 pounds. He picks up 2. He squirms to the 43, and they move the chains.
Ray Maluga. Watch Ray Maluga. It's like it's number 58. Shoot the gap right there. And he's injured down on the field because he knocks right in, and it was a major collision between he and the ball carrier.
Well, if you had a sledgehammer like Ivory coming into you, he'd probably crumble too. That is hard hitting in there. That's been the signature of Ivory in his career with the Saints and now with the Jets.
Watch this. Ray Malaluga and Chris Ivory right in the hold.
Wow.
And you can see there's Malaluga goes limp to the ground.
Injury timeout, 4:01 to play here in Cincinnati in the first half. That is a good sign right there as the fifth-year player out of USC and a former second-round pick, Ray Malaluga, who is battling a hamstring to begin with. He took a hard hit by the running back of the Jets, Chris Ivory.
Yeah, he led with that right shoulder. You can see he's stunned right there as he goes limp. But good news, he was able to take his own helmet off, and he's sitting up. He does have movement. But here it is, real speed. He falls limp there, and he certainly was in pain. Appeared to be doing better. As we told you, he was able to take off his own helmet, was able to sit up in his own power.
So, the one thing that you've picked up from Marvin Lewis and have been talking to the team about over the last handful of weeks is the great chemistry that has developed on this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh, absolutely. They've got a number of different leaders. He mentioned Ray Malaluga is one of those guys. And, players like Geno Atkins and James Harrison and A.J. Green. He says, our best players are our hardest workers. And then, what is a real young football team? He said these guys have made it cool to work hard. And they have a much better atmosphere in this locker room and with this football team than maybe they had, say, 6 years ago. And guys like Ray Malaluga has contributed to the good vibe that Marvin Lewis feels from this football team.
Michael Boley will take his place. He has yet to play on defense. He's just played on special teams. He was signed October 1st. He's wearing number 53. It is a first down for the Jets. And they go underneath Cumberland, who is hit by the aforementioned Boley right there. 9 years out of Southern Miss. It's a pickup of 9. He's down to the 34. Boley was a 4-year starter for the New York Giants.
Yeah, maybe Cumberland, as you see on the right side of your screen, 87 will be the go-to guy for Geno Smith with David Nelson out of the game. Prior to that completion, Smith 6 total completions. 5 of them went to David Nelson. Don't forget about Jeremy Clary. He's also a go-to guy in critical moments.
Second down and 1. Smith has hit his last 5. Howell. And not a whole lot there. You can see Perfect and the others, along with Crocker, stopping him. Very short gain and close to a first down. The initial word we're getting from the Cincinnati staff is that it was a knee injury for the linebacker Malaluga. We'll try to update as we continue to go. Questionable return, they tell us. Marvin Lewis, who used to coach with Rex Ryan on that Baltimore staff that won a Super Bowl back in 2000.
Both of them were great defensive coordinators for the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up through their coaching staff, Marvin Lewis won a Super Bowl title as a defensive coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens.
They got the first down. Geno Smith stands tall in that pocket, hits Curley. Crocker brings him down. That's a gain of 8 for an emerging player. Jeremy Curley had 8 catches last week against the Patriots. He is the leading receiver for the team this year, as he was last year.
Comes into today's game with 15 receptions on third downs. He had 8 receptions last week. 6 of them were on third down. He is money in the bank on third down plays.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. 3 timeouts remaining for the Jets with good field position. A 2nd and 3 at the 26 of Cincinnati.
It's the Jets' best drive of the day. I think you've got to come away with points, even if it's a field goal here. But on 2nd and 3, you got to take a shot at the end zone. It's known as a waste down and the opportunity to put points on the board.
8th play of the drive for Smith Powell. That was deflected by Dunlap, and on the ricochet, reeled in. Newman makes the stop on the running back and a loss of 3 on the play near the 30-yard line.
He probably would have been better off batting this ball down, Kevin. You don't want to catch it. They were at 2nd and 3. Now they're going to end up, about 3rd and 6 as a result of actually making the catch. That ball could have easily been intercepted after it was batted up, but I think on that play you're better off if you're the intended receiver just knocking that ball down. Now they're facing 3rd and 6, and I think Geno Smith's got to be careful not put the ball in harm's way.
For Dunlap, that was his 5th batted down pass this season, amongst the best in pro football. 3rd and a long 6. Smith Way over the head, and also a lot of coverage back there, too, with Jones. It's incomplete. It's fourth down. They'll try for 3.
Geno Atkins. Geno says hi to the rookie Geno. Big Geno Atkins, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL, hitting the rookie quarterback. And they are going to go for the field goal. I think it's the right thing to do. It's your best drive of the day for a young Jets team. You've got to have something to show for it here before going in at halftime. I think it goes a long way into helping your morale and reward the effort.
So Nick Folk, who beat out Billy Cundiff in training camp, will try a 47-yarder. It's 21-6. Just before halftime last week against the Patriots, the Jets trailed 21-10. Now they trail 21-6, and they've had to battle Dalton, who had the 3 touchdown passes today.
You know, Kevin, football is a game of inches, especially in the postseason. You know, last year's AFC divisional playoffs game, Baltimore-Denver. Remember the safety, Raheem Moore, inches away from changing history if he can bat down that ball. In the 99 season, Steve McNair's pass to Kevin Dyson, inches away from them winning a Super Bowl. And then my team, Super Bowl 23, my former teammate Ray Horton, inches away from ruining Joe Montana and John Taylor's day. And now the Bengals, they believe this could be a magical season for them. 25-year anniversary since that Super Bowl in 1988 season when they lost to the 49ers. They believe this is the kind of team that can get them back there, because this is a talented team, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. But it is a game of inches right now with a big lead on the New York Jets. They've got to be able to finish it.
Well, the Bengals are off, Solomon, to their fastest start through the first 7 games since 1988, that Super Bowl year, coming in 5-2, home 3-0 against the Jets. The run last week had been alternating wins and losses all season long. And now they find themselves behind Geno Smith on a 10-play drive and a 47-yard field goal by Folk, who's also kicked one from 45 in subsequent kickoff. And Brandon Tate will take it a yard deep for the Cincinnati Bengals. 10th round pick for New England finds a gap and on the move, and he gets by Folk, and there he goes. And then Antonio Allen knocks him out of bounds. Brandon Tate out of North Carolina, a 71-yard return to the 29-yard line of the Jets.
It is players like Brandon Tate and, of course, Darren Simmons, their special teams coach. Take a look here and look at him hit the seam there. Watch him turn it up and find a lane. Then the speed to get past Nick Folk and get it down the field. This guy is a burner. And their ability to have just a complete team, offense, defense, special teams, as you see the speed of Tate, makes this a real potent offensive football team, or complete team, I should say, here in Cincinnati.
So the 71-yard return, a season long, obviously, for Tate. Here we go with the 1st and 10, Cincinnati with 2 timeouts.
Hey, Luigi, Blade! Blade's up!
Inside for Jones, tackled by Allen. 12-yard pickup, first down to the 17.
Still have time, take a shot at the end zone with 2 timeouts in their hip pocket.
Giovanni Bernard is in the backfield for Andy Dalton, who has thrown for 243 yards today. Inside, looked like Wilkerson was trying to rip that ball away. Landry finishes off Bernard. It's a gain of 3. Solomon down to the 14-yard line.
Well, they run the ball, then they use a timeout, stop the clock.
Well, coming up from our CBS studios in New York, the Verizon Halftime Report with JB, Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, Boomer Esiason, and Coach Bill Cowan for the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report from New York. Boomer and I, tomorrow night on radio, will be in St. Louis for the Seattle-St. Louis Rams game, Monday Night Football. And here you see a look at the big numbers by Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton has been criticized, the inability to connect consistently on the long ball with A.J. Green. No doubt this team had their struggles in terms of the passing game, connecting on big plays. But, you know, Andy Dalton has been one of those guys that once he gets into the middle part of the season, he's always been able to smooth out his game. And I've seen some improvement over the last few weeks with the quarterback here in Cincinnati.
Milliner is out, as we mentioned. Walls is in. 2nd down and 7. Dalton to the end zone. They're looking for Sanu, and the veteran, Tawan Landry, was right there to break up the pass.
All right, Sanu went into the teeth of the defense. There were more Jets defenders in that area. Thought it maybe could have been intercepted. You could see Landry was in good position. Number 26 comes over the top to break that one up. Bengals are fortunate that one wasn't turned over. Maybe you want to keep it on the edge. Remember, Eifert is a guy that's been really good down in this area of the football field. He's not in the game at this point.
One timeout, Cincinnati, 3rd down and 7.
Larry! Legs up!
Timeout, Jets.
First charge timeout, New York. 30-second timeout.
So we'll step back here and tell you that the Jets come into today 4-3, and the talk last night with Rex Ryan was very positive. The team was very upbeat. They just haven't had the consistency to put 2 wins together all season.
There's no doubt about it. He understands that this is a young football team. They have talent in some areas, he said, but we're playing with a young quarterback in Geno Smith. He's developing and getting better each and every week. But he says we're not far away. We're not too far away from where we want to be. He loves what he has defensively. Believes they do need more playmakers to put around this young quarterback, Geno Smith, but believe that the defense should be keeping them in more games. I can tell you right now, he's not happy with the fact they've given up 21 first-half points to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, they've had a top 10 defense the last 4 seasons with the Jets. 3rd down and 7.
Legs up!
Dalton. It was caught out of bounds. Landry defending, and Jones, who else, was the guy that...
It looked like Jones had the ball. Did he juggle it? Now Carl Johnson's having a conversation. It looked like he caught that ball, Kevin. Did he maintain possession after he fell to the ground? That's going to be the only question. Jermaine Gresham's over there lobbying as if he's...
The ruling on the field is the receiver got his 2nd foot down in bounds. It's a touchdown.
Wow. So that's going to be the ruling. They will take a look at it because now it's deemed to be a scoring play. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Great throw from Andy Dalton. There you see the 2nd foot comes down, maintains possession of the ball. I didn't see any bobble there, but this is just an incredible throw by Dalton in a very tight window. There you see 1 foot down by Jones. Foot number 2 down. Jones has himself a 3rd touchdown reception in this ball game, Kevin.
And also we're inside 2 minutes, but this is a scoring play, and all scoring plays are reviewed. But it looked like it, even the big hit by Landry, and the initial ruling was he was on the chalk. Caught it, but he was on the chalk.
But that was their conversation, but it's been confirmed that it is a touchdown. Now, the ruling on the field is a touchdown, even though initially they said it wasn't. Once they had the conference, they did deem it to be a touchdown, and it stands.
Andy Dalton has thrown 4 first-half touchdown passes and 257 yards. Nugent making it 28-6 Cincinnati. And I don't know if anybody saw this coming.
No. Anyone see Marvin Jones doing what he's done over the last few weeks for the Cincinnati Bengals offense? He has really come on and become another weapon for Andy Dalton and another playmaker for the Bengals.
And he's playing, Jones is, with a shoulder injury. He missed Thursday practice this week. And he is coming off his 2 best yardage totals. Against Detroit last week, 4 catches, 57 yards. And then this was before Detroit. This was against Buffalo. The quarterback and everybody out there blocking for him. Here he leaps high. And today, he has caught touchdown passes of 9 of 6, and moments ago for 14 yards. Marvin Jones. Last year, he only caught 18 passes.
Look at that over the last 3 games. This is incredible. And this is what the Cincinnati Bengals kind of saw themselves as being the kind of football team that could score a lot of points on offense. They saw themselves being a championship defensive football team coming into the 2013 season. You might say it's all coming together today here at Paul Brown Stadium against a really good Jets defense.
Nugent, an original draft choice by the Jets. And this one goes short. And You see the subsequent run by Troy Davis. And the clock at 9 seconds. He was hit by Pierman. And I'm assuming he's just going to take a knee.
Well, with 9 seconds, I think you go ahead and regroup at halftime. You don't need to go throwing the ball down the field. 9 seconds really only gives you a chance for maybe one big play and then timeout. And they're not going to be able to do anything with 9 seconds from this point, or at least in this area of the football field.
Well, they're going to send out their receivers, 3 of them, and they got Powell in the backfield. It is 1st and 10, and they do have those 2 timeouts. Powell. The run to the 42. He picks up 7, and that'll take us to halftime. Andy Dalton, 4 first-half touchdown passes. Marvin Jones, 116 receiving yards and 3 touchdown catches. I'd be smiling too. We take you to New York after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Lot of Bengal offensive firepower. The score reflecting that. Second half is right around the corner. This season, Pepsi invites NFL fans to show love for their team by asking, are you fan enough? Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. Paul Brown Stadium sold out with Solomon Wilcott's Kevin Harlan. Andy Dalton has been terrific with his 4 touchdown passes today. Marvin Jones has been the recipient of 3 of them. There's really hard to pick up anything at all wrong.
Well, we talked about Andy Dalton at the beginning of the show. We said that he has begun to spread the ball around. He's not forcing it in to A.J. Green, and so he's been red hot. 4 touchdown passes in the first half of this game. 3 to Marvin Jones, 1 over to Jermaine Gresham. Andy Dalton has now had 10 interceptions in his last 10 quarters of play, and he still has 2 quarters to go in the rest of this ball game. So the 10 touchdowns in 10 quarters of play is simply phenomenal. He is just playing lights out, Kevin.
You recall the Jets won the flip of the coin, and they deferred, so they're going to get the ball first here in the second half, and we'll see how they've tried to regroup with offensive coordinator Marty Mornhinweg, and that's a good guy to get things started right there. That's Josh Cribbs, who had the 7-year run with the Browns. Off-season knee surgery. They let him loose. He tried out for the Jets. They didn't sign him. He went out to Oakland, was in training camp with the Raiders, but they didn't like things about his knee rehab. Waited a couple more weeks. He's been sitting on the street. Here he is now. And now he bobbles it. He's got to bring it out. He vacuums it in, and he finds a gap, and he's out to about the 27-yard line. And Sean Williams, a rookie out of Georgia, brings him down. Cribbs returns at 27 yards. And Solomon through 30 minutes of football. These are some of our numbers.
Just lights out by the Cincinnati Bengals. Almost 300 yards. Total offense in the first half of this ball game, and then defensively really keeping the Jets offense in check. You've seen a real complete team effort. The special teams played really well for the Cincinnati Bengals, and now they need to finish the ball game strong, something they really haven't done over the last couple of weeks, allowing other teams to create big plays.
I see it. Like 5-3, stick.
Geno Smith on first down and 10. That's picked off. Here comes Crocker to the house for 6.
You can see Geno Smith not expecting that when trying to get the ball over to Clary. He was saying, what's going on there? Give Chris Crocker a lot of credit. We told you he was playing the nickel corner, replacing Leon Hall, the injured Leon Hall. He was locked in on Jeremy Clary, and he's able to jump this throw from Geno Smith, return it for an interception. That's just a great play on the ball and great anticipation by Chris Crocker, the 11-year veteran.
The second pick six thrown by the rookie quarterback Smith in consecutive weeks. Here is the extra point. 32-yard return. 35-6 Cincinnati. Crocker's second career interception return for a touchdown. His third overall, had a fumble return touchdown, and he puts him up bigger.
Here's going to be the out by Clary, and watch number 32. That's going to be Chris Crocker. He keeps outside leverage on the play. See, outside leverage means top shoulder, and they're getting break on the ball. He stabs that one with one hand. hauls it in, and then from there it's an easy run to the end zone. It's just real good leverage, taking outside position, and then he makes a play for the ball. Clary wasn't real sure on the route, and you can see that Geno Smith was trusting him to not allow that ball to be defended, saying, hey, you got to go out. You can't sit it down. You got to continue to go out. He was anticipating Jeremy Curley going out and making a play on the ball. You can see Geno Smith's not happy at all.
Crocker, the 11-year veteran, he played college ball at Marshall, rejoined the Bengals as a free agent in late September. Third-round pick by Cleveland, went to Atlanta, Miami. He's really been involved with the Bengals since 2008. And so his third career touchdown, his second interception return, another pick six for the rookie, who continues to learn the league week by week, and that's part of the inconsistency of the Jets, winning one week, losing the next. We've got a rookie quarterback back there trying to get a handle on things.
I think Chris Crocker heard me when I said they haven't finished strong over the last few weeks, because he made a statement with that play.
Reds will bring it out 5 yards deep. He's got 11 combined kick return and punt return touchdowns. Again, he finds good yardage, and he's knocked out by the kicker. Looked like Nugent was the one to steer him out of bounds. The return of 36 yards. He's up to the 31. And here comes Geno Smith with a 1st and 10.
Yeah, we talked to Marvin Lewis and many of these Cincinnati Bengals players about those momentary lapses that we saw when they allowed 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to Thad Lewis in Buffalo, and then a late touchdown last week against Detroit. He said it's about our ability to focus late in games, not allow any cheap throws or cheap touchdowns. And today you can tell he talked to his team at halftime, and boy, did he get their attention.
With the 1st and 10, batted down that time by the defensive end Michael Johnson. Number 93, second batted down pass that Smith has thrown this afternoon, bringing up 2nd down and 10.
Oh, very impressive defensive ends for the Cincinnati Bengals. You see Johnson coming around the middle. Johnson goes 6'7", 270. Dunlop is 6'8". We haven't even showed you Marcus Hunt, the rookie from SMU. He goes 6'8", 230. This is a basketball team, bunch of power forwards on the defensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cribbs is in and on the move. 2nd down and 10, Ivory. He got a block from Howard, who steered his guy inside, and then Newman brings him down. It's a gain of 4. Iloka was there as well. They'll put him at the 35. A couple of injury updates. Taylor Mays is out with a shoulder injury in the secondary for the Cincinnati Bengals, and Ray Maualuga, we saw him get injured late in the first half. He is out with both a knee and a concussion. They will not return for Cincinnati's D.
Kevin, if you are the New York Jets, you're on the road, you're down 35-6 early in the 3rd quarter with a rookie quarterback. What you can't do is allow him to start throwing it all over the place. I still think you've got to have some balance between the run and the pass and manage the game for Geno Smith.
He's got a 3rd and 6 here. He opts to go outside for Powell, who makes a little shimmy move on the linebacker. Perfect, who makes the tackle at about the 39. He picks up 4. It's 4th and 2, and the Jets will punt.
Means the defense going to have to come on and get some stops. And you say, well, why wouldn't you allow the rookie Geno Smith to start taking shots at this Bengals defense? What you don't want to do is you don't want to arrest the development of your young rookie quarterback. Here on the road, he starts turning it over and end up having a disastrous game. It could do more than just lose a ball game. It could really set back the development of your young quarterback.
The punter Quigley to the return man, Brandon Tate, who is signaling for a fair catch. A lot of that at the 15-yard line. And a 46-yard punt. Andy Dalton comes back in with 257 first-half throwing yards for Cincinnati. Well, coming into today, the Bengals had a 2-game lead. Baltimore idle, Cleveland lost in Kansas City, and Pittsburgh is getting creamed in Oakland. So they could extend their lead after today.
Well, the Bengals are trying to maintain control of what we thought was a tough division.
Pace makes the stop on Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis, gain of 5 to the 20-yard line.
Well, the Bengals, of course, will have a short week. Thursday night, they play in Miami, so Marvin Lewis is going to have to turn his team around in short order. But they've got to finish it off here today. This Jets team, this defense, capable of getting turnovers, creating a short field, and If you're the Bengals, you want to finish off this game in clean fashion.
We've got no word on Milliner, but he left the game in the first half, and they've got Walls taking his place, and a good stop right there by Damon Harrison on the Green Ellis 2-yard gain to the 21.
His Bengals offense has been red hot. You can see 4 touchdowns scored on their 6 possessions in the first half. It's just incredible. Of course, they did have the turnover, and they nearly scored where they lost the ball on downs inside of the Jets' 5-yard line.
Wanted to mention to start this series, a new left tackle, Anthony Collins in Whitworth, the All-Pro, is out, or the Pro Bowler is out with a knee issue. 3rd down and 4. Questionable if he'll return. Giovanni Bernard is in the backfield on 3rd and 4. Airing it out, looking for Green, and he beats Cromartie, but he dropped the ball. And then he hurdles the bench. He had that in his hands, which brings a smile to Dalton. 3 and out, they got to punt the ball.
You know, on so many of these opportunities, it's been Dalton who maybe didn't get it on the money. He got it on the money here, and it's A.J. Green who doesn't come through. It's probably a little too easy. You talk to receivers around the NFL, it's those when they're wide open and have plenty of time to see the ball coming in. Some of them are the most difficult ones to haul in.
Kevin Huber to punt for the first time for the Cincinnati Bengals. Josh Cribbs is back, retrieving at the 26. He makes 1 miss. Ooh, then he was stuck pretty good right there by Sean Williams. And a flag, as you see, at the 27. Tackle was made at the 30. 4-yard return, 54-yard punt by Huber.
It was made by Sean Williams. Looks like he got the worst of it.
And he's down. You're right.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, 10-yard penalty. First down, timeout.
Jets are going to get it, and they trail 35-6 early second half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Quicken Loans, for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And by Acura. Discover more about the Acura RLX at acura.com/RLX.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, the attack in Benghazi. What really happened? Lara Logan with a year-long investigation on 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. Well, there was the down player. That is the 3rd-round pick, rookie Sean Williams. He's been relegated just to special teams, but they have high hopes for him. But good sign there, walking off under his own power. He's okay. And so this defense of Cincinnati digging in, number 9 in the NFL against Geno Smith, who's already thrown a pick 6 here in the second half. Bilal Powell. Adam Jones can't get him. He runs out of real estate, chased over there by Montez Perfect. It is a gain of 4 to the 20-yard line.
And Jones had him in the backfield, didn't secure the tackle. And the Jets are continuing to play hard. Powell is a really good-looking back. They hope he can become something special running for this football team. You can see today they haven't had much. They've came in averaging 124 yards rushing per game, only 27 yards rushing today against the Bengals defense.
Chris Ivory is now in on 2nd down and 6. Geno looking for some length in this one, broken up by Terrence Newman. Iloka was there. A flag is thrown. They were going for Jeff Cumberland, the tight end.
I don't know what could have drew the flag. Thought it was a really good play by Terrence Newman, coming off his coverage to make a play on the ball.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 23, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Wow, you got to ask, is he playing the ball? He'll come from that angle there. Let's see, he was going for the ball. Where is there? They're saying he led with a helmet, or what way is this a foul? That's beyond me, Kevin. He's clearly playing the ball is Terrence Newman. He almost had an interception, and you have to allow defenders to contest for the football, right?
Well, Newman is making his 160th career start today. Iloka is a first-year starter. It is 1st and 10. Ivory hit by Vincent Ray, knocked by Perfect. It is a gain of 2 to the 37.
Well, nonetheless, the Jets catch a break. Chance to move the offense and see if they can sustain some kind of movement with the rookie quarterback.
Jets have won 3 of their 4 games on game-winning field goals. A road record coming in of 1-2. One of the surprise teams certainly here at the midway point of the season. 2nd down, 9. Powell is back in there. Ferguson holding off his oncoming rusher. That's a catch by Stephen Hill. That's the first of the game for him. He picks up 5. He was hit on the play by Thompson, among others. The gain to the 41.
Right now, the protection's holding up for Geno Smith. The Bengals are only sending a 4-man rush. Michael Johnson, Geno Atkins, Tomata Peko, and Carlos Dunlap are your 4 pass rushers. Let's see if Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, will dial up the blitz, try to put some heat on the rookie quarterback.
Right now he's got an extra defensive back out there, so it's 3rd down and 4 for Smith. The Mangold snap. Underneath, looked like Hill, it was. He makes the grab. Boley along with Perfect, very close to the 1st down. Let's see where they spot the ball. Looked like they get right to the 45, and they are going to move the chains with the 1st down.
Yeah.
Signal. Hill is now going to leave the field.
Geno Smith is hanging in there. It's going to be a 4-man rush. Despite what you see, it's 4 guys coming up the field. See, only 4 guys. Marcus Hunt, number 99 at tackle, that other 6'8" defensive lineman, and you can see Smith hangs in there. He understood he had them all protected, waited for the receiver to come open, and completed the pass for a 1st down.
Michael Campbell, bottom of your screen here, takes the place of Hill, who hobbles off. 1st down and 10. Smith and Powell brought down by Boley. Gain of 4 on the play to the 49.
Now the New York Jets seem to have some movement. Protection's holding up. And if you're Smith, you've got to be able to hang in there, and these receivers have to be able to get open. If you're only going to rush 4, that means your quarterback's going to have time. Take a look at Marty Morningwig, the offensive coordinator for the Jets, trying to dial up some kind of combination that can work for this quarterback.
2nd down and 6. A little bit low, but reeled in that time, it looked like, by Zach Sudfeld with his first catch as a New York Jet after he was claimed off waivers from New England back in early October.
Yeah, Sudfeld had a really good training camp. You can see there's the tight coverage there, but Sudfeld had a really good training camp with the Patriots. He made a lot of noise there, but they were so young at the wide receiver and tight end positions with Gronkowski coming back. Sudfeld was let go.
3rd and 1. Looks like he submarines for 2 and has the 1st down. And brought down by Michael Boley on the play. So put it at the 44-yard line of Cincinnati.
And they're starting to convert some 3rd downs. You have to be impressed with the way the Jets are hanging in on this possession, starting to make some plays, not getting any big chunk plays against this Bengals defense, but they're just taking what the Bengals defense has given them.
A little bit more rhythm to their offense.
Absolutely.
First down and 10 for Geno Smith. And that was almost picked off across the way by Adam Jones, formerly known as Pac-Man.
Yeah, he thought he had it. He had it for a second. This ball is thrown late, Kevin. Way clear to the other side of the field, intended for Stephen Hill. And you can see as Adam Jones knifed in underneath, Hill able to grab at the arm of Adam Jones. It's the only thing prevented the interception.
Good to see Hill back out there after he had left earlier on, and he stays on the field. 2nd down and 10. Smith is 14 of 21. Powell with the block. Caught by Nelson. Stiff arms by Boley. Looking downfield for a block. He will get it from Hill, and out of bounds he goes. Adam Jones ushers him out. 19-yard catch and run. He'll take it to the 25.
And Michael Boley, number 53, he's the one that's got to be able to make this play. You can see they're going to come in from here, but see, Boley's got to make that tackle. He's in position, doesn't move his feet, and you can see he detaches as Nelson's able to get some yards after the catch. Boley's got to be able to make that play and contain it for a minimum gain.
Today is Nelson's 4th game with the Jets. Ivory is in, 10th play of the drive, 1st and 10. Started back at the 16 of the Jets. Here's Ivory. Backed up nicely as he takes it inside by Burfict, who leads the NFL. NFL.com tells us with tackles in the league. He's number 1. Gain of 2 right there to the 23.
Well, that's a number I believe in, because every time you put the tape on and after every play,
he's there.
Montez Burfict, he's a guy at the bottom of the pile. You can see he's winded. He plays extremely hard in every situation, whether he's blitzing, whether he's in coverage, or even if it's a run play, he's getting up from the bottom of the pile.
He's played the most defensive snaps for Cincinnati this season. Virtually every play. Like you said, 2nd down and 8. Oh, they get by Ferguson, and coming through is Brandon Thompson. That's a sack, his first for the 2nd-year player out of Clemson. Loss of 8 on the play, pushing back to the 32.
This Jets offensive line had done a really good job of blocking. You can see Thompson right there, and then he just gets up the field.
I'll tell you, I said it was on Ferguson. They went right over the rookie guard, Brian Winters.
Brian Winters, and inside of DeBrickashaw Ferguson, who had his hands full on the outside, couldn't come down and help the rookie left guard.
They have been a handful, haven't they?
Yeah.
Powers in 3rd and 17. They need the 15. Atkins up the middle, dropped by Powell. And so that makes it 4th down.
Geno Atkins was a man unleashed. He was pouring in on the quarterback, Smith. Watch him right here, Kevin. He wins right away against Willie Colon. And there he is. Smith couldn't hold on to the ball, forced to dump it off at the feet of the running back. Atkins is a force to be reckoned with on this Bengals defensive line.
Well, a field goal, and this will be a 50-yarder by Nick Folk. Or should they try going for it with the deficit they have?
Yeah. You know, I think you want to try to get some points. This is a long one.
50 yards, and he has nailed it.
Wow.
From 50 yards away, his long before then had been 48. So he has a season high. Nick Folk, who has been winning 3 of the 4 games with his leg. He puts 3 more on the board for the Jets in Cincy. Nick Folk with his 3rd field goal today. He is 19 of 19 this season. He just kicked a season-long 50-yarder. He's also nailed Solomon one earlier in the game from 45 and 47.
And that's why you go for it. I know some say, well, is a field goal going to do him any good? I think you got to reward the offense, but this guy's been red hot and on the money.
And the ensuing kickoff, and Brandon Tate, who's got a 71-yard kickoff return in his pocket today, will bring it out. And he'll weave and get by Cribbs, and then finally knocked out of bounds. And another special teams tackle by Troy Davis, and a 27-yard return. Up to the 26. Andy Dalton has thrown 4 touchdown passes today.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by Acura. Meet the extremely new 2014 MDX at Acura.com/MDX.
Well, people ask what our crew does when they're on the road. You just saw a little bit of it right there. Halloween week. 1st down and 10 after the 50-yard field goal by Folk. And the return. And here is Giovanni Bernard. He was hit in the secondary by Walls. He picks up 3 yards. He takes it up to the 29-yard line. As we still have a replacement for Andrew Whitworth at that left tackle, Anthony Collins, who started for the injured Whitworth game 1. So he sees a lot of utility time in the offensive line for Cincinnati.
And Marvin Lewis, obviously the numbers are limited, but you have to wonder what guys do you allow to maybe get some time off for the remainder of this game, considering the short turnaround on Wednesday. 3 days from today, they travel to Miami, and in 4 days on Thursday, they play another game.
2nd down and 7. Seidenbacher, who played at Ohio State, run out of bounds by Jaquan Jarrett, 9-yard pickup, and he'll be at the 38.
For anyone living in the state of Ohio, you know who Dane Sanzenbacher is. Third-year player, as you mentioned, out of Ohio State at 5'11", 185 pounds. This kid makes plays. If the ball is anywhere in his area code, he's coming down with it.
2 catches today, 3 catches coming in. Everybody's getting a hand on the ball today from quarterback Andy Dalton with his 4 touchdown passes, 1st and 10 over the head of Brandon Tate. Coverage by Walls. 2nd down. See why millions of fans have followed Person of Interest to its new night and time. Don't miss a new episode Tuesday, 10, 9 Central. Only CBS. 2nd down and 10. 4 and 3 New York. 5 and 2 Cincinnati.
We already see Marvin Jones not in the game. Mohamed Sanu, another not in the game.
Sanu had a shoulder earlier in the contest. 2nd down and 10. There's Bernard. Gaining 3. Brought down by the linebacker McIntyre at the 41 as we take you to New York and James Brown.
Kevin and Solomon, here's something you don't see too often. Peyton Manning, who has 26 touchdown tosses on the season, only his 4th pick of the year. This one, D'Angelo Hall, 26 yards to pay dirt. A lot more games still left to play, but Shanahan hoping for a successful return to Denver. Kevin and Solly.
That is the 2nd pick 6 that Manning has thrown this season.
Wow. And you have to wonder if Peyton Manning is completely healthy, dealing with some injuries.
3rd down, 7 here for going. Oh, and he's got Green. He's held by Cromartie, and Wilson was there. They'll have the ball 1st and goal at the 6 on his 2nd 53-yard reception today.
And Andy Dalton doesn't underthrow him on this one. Just smoking down the field is A.J. Green, getting inside of Cromartie, on top of Kyle Wilson, number 20, and he patiently waits for that one and made sure to haul it in. Wasn't going to drop this one, Kevin. And I got to tell you, Dalton has been much better throwing the ball over the top of defenses and connecting with not just A.J. Green, but a multitude of receivers on this football team. He's much better throwing the ball down the field.
So they've got 2 100-yard receivers, a 300-yard passing quarterback. That's Marvin Jones on 1st and goal, and he gets back to the line, and he was in on the play by McIntyre along with David Harris. I'd be smiling too if I were him. He's had a great day.
You're getting all the receivers into the rotation. Now with Marvin Jones back in the game, we told you Mohamed Sanu had come out. We're seeing Brandon Tate. We're seeing Dane Sanzenbacher, 7 catches on the day. Ties a record with 11 other players who've played wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals.
We're good. We're not good.
Listen to the communication.
Legs up.
2nd goal at the 6. Jones. A block from Eifert. Breaks a tackle. And he goes in. The tackle he brought was Jaquan Jarrett. Spinning by him. 6-yard touchdown reception. The 4th touchdown reception today by Marvin Jones. What an afternoon.
He's assaulting the record books and offending the senses of the defensive coaches for the New York Jets. Just a quick flip over to Jones. Look at him break tackles. He's really good at creating yards after the catch. Seemed determined to get into the end zone.
That is a franchise record with the Bengals. Nugent. 42-9. Cincinnati. 8 catches and 122. He's dropped on the Jets today. Jarrett couldn't bring him down. Corkscrews in for his 4th touchdown this afternoon. Good looking drive. And 42-9 Cincinnati making a loud and distinct comment today.
Wow, Andy Dalton has been on fire. He's throwing the ball over the defense on the money. Pinpoint passing on these long-range balls open up a 31-point lead on the Jets.
This is Cribbs. He is drilled on the play. 22-yard return. Jason DeMonch from Hamilton, New Jersey, and a rookie free agent with this team.
It's been a big day for the 2nd-year receiver Marvin Jones out of the University of California. catching everything that's thrown his way, finding the end zone, getting both feet in bounds, even the catch and run, spinning and twisting his way into the end zone. 4 touchdown receptions on the day, a new franchise record. And boy, have they had some talented receivers play here in Cincinnati, and none have had a better day in terms of finding the end zone than Marvin Jones.
Geno Smith on 1st and 10, Curley. Initially by Crocker, then by Jones, 6-yard pickup, and he takes it out near the 20.
Many people were concerned about this Bengals team after losing Leon Hall again, out for the year with that torn Achilles tendon injury suffered last week in Detroit. But this secondary has played well. At the bottom of your screen, you see Dre Kirkpatrick, last year's first-round pick, in the game.
2nd down and 4. Stephen Hill, the aforementioned Kirkpatrick, was in there. Number 1 pick, as Solly said. Flag is down. Played at Alabama. As part of some national championships down there for Nick Saban.
I think it's a chance to get guys like Dre Kirkpatrick.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 27, defense. Penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Well, Leon Hall is out, and so they're going to go deep in their reserve for defensive backs.
Yeah, he's going to get a chance to play. He has improved. We talked to George Iloka, also drafted last year. He's in his 2nd year out of Boise State. They both came in together. Both should be playing and logging significant minutes.
1st and 10 handoff, and not a whole lot there. Tackle made by Dunlap. It's a gain of 4. Powell is the guy to take it. Flag is thrown right at the end of the play, and it looked like Jones was jawing with somebody, and Reggie Nelson quickly shoved Jones away, and now he's talking with someone on the Jets bench. On the far side, looked like he was jawing with Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah, he's talking with some of the players now in the Jets bench area. And, of course, Adam Jones is starting him.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 28, offense.
29.
15-yard penalty, and the down counts. 2nd down.
Hold on.
Right here.
It's
right
Nelson.
there.
It's not 28. It's 86.
It's 86.
Yeah.
Comes over and hit Adam Jones. Now watch how many players. Look at Reggie Nelson. That's leadership right there. Because he knows Adam Jones is probably going to retaliate. Good play by Reggie Nelson.
That is the end of the quarter. 5 Dalton touchdown passes, 4 to Marvin Jones. We go to the 4th. It's been a nightmare before Halloween here for the Jets. All they've gotten are 3 field goals, and the explosive Cincinnati offense has seen their quarterback, 3rd year, Andy Dalton, throw 5 touchdown passes. One of his receivers, Jones, has caught 4 of them. A new record. Here's a 2nd and 21. Stephen Hill hit by Jones, and then it was perfect. And they're going to get him leading with his helmet. And a defenseless receiver.
Was he defenseless?
Well, I think
we talk about this all the time, but he was making a football move. If you're making a football move, you're not considered to be defenseless.
Personal foul. Hitting a player with the crown of his helmet, number 55 defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Now, the crown of the helmet rule, remember, the rule is even a running back can't lower his head if he lines you up. And see, and he did have him lined up. So I think that's a really good call by the officials, because he did lead with the crown of his helmet, and he had the receiver lined up right there. So, yeah, if you're Vontaze Burfict, it has to be explained. You can't lead with the crown of your helmet. It could have been a helmet-to-helmet hit because he was not rendered to be defenseless.
It is a 1st and 10, and Smith will throw it away. One thing about Burfict, he was a highly thought-of college linebacker, but his emotions got the best of him, and he went undrafted because coaches thought they couldn't control him. He couldn't be coached.
Yeah, and Mike Zimmer let him know that if you're going to play for me, you're going to have to get in line. And he has been a model citizen since coming here to the Cincinnati Bengals, and he has transformed their defense, giving them some toughness. And when you talk to him, you know that this is a guy that cares about doing things the right way.
with Powell in the backfield. Second down and 10 for the quarterback, Geno Smith. Underneath he goes to Nelson. Here's hit by Burfict. And a gain of 4 in the play. He's up to the 42.
You see that tackle by Burfict? He's looking at the Jets players. He was less physical there. Didn't line him up with the crowd in his helmet, but still made a nice, insecure tackle.
He's out of Arizona State, and he replaced the starter a season ago, Thomas Howard, early in the 2012 season.
And look at him. He's quarterback in the defense. He's as active as any defender you're ever going to find on a top-ranked defense in the NFL.
Now a 3rd and 6 for Smith. And slings it to Curley with a good tackle made by Crocker. And he gets the first down to the Cincinnati 44. 14-yard strike, and the Jets will move the chains.
Bengals are now playing with their nickel defense. As you can see, Chris Crocker is that 5th defensive back that we call the nickel defender, playing in this Bengals defense in passing situations. You can see Curley last week, 8 receptions, only 3 today in Cincinnati.
The 10 picked off Adam Jones, and well, let's see what Geno Smith can do. Not much. His second pick 6 thrown today. The Jets quarterback has been victimized twice, this time by Adam Jones.
The rookie quarterback was asked not to turn it over, and he's done it twice today. He was nearly intercepted earlier in the 3rd quarter by Adam Jones. That ball was dropped, but you can see right here, he's going to break on it. Take a look at this one. And Geno just throws it late, Kevin. Watch, see right here. Now you can't throw that ball late because Adam Jones had inside leverage on the play. No way you're going to get that ball past the talented Adam Jones, who's way too quick and speedy to not be able to intercept that one.
Adam Jones surprisingly only has 6 career interceptions. That is his 2nd interception touchdown return. The first time was back in 06 as a second-year player for Jeff Fisher with the Tennessee Titans. But here, a 60-yard return. I'd like to have a microphone in that conversation there with Rex Ryan and his rookie quarterback, who's thrown 2 interceptions for touchdowns. Last one by Adam Jones. And we got a new quarterback sighting. Looks like Matt Sims is going to come in for the Jets on what has been a difficult day for Geno Smith. And here comes Josh Cribbs. And brought down by Pearman on the play on a 23-yard return. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the Subway postgame show. Join JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest NFL scores and highlights. All coming up on the Subway postgame show. What about the Broncos get beat at home so far out there against the Redskins as the new quarterback, Matt Sims, comes in?
And we said this earlier that if you start allowing Geno to throw it all over the park, bad things can start to happen, Kevin, and you can arrest his development. Now they're going to get him out of the game and just kind of pull the plug on this one, allowing Matt Sims to close it out.
Know your last name, certainly. Here's the handoff to Powell, who picks up a yard and brought down on the play by Michael Johnson. Put him at the 21.
You know, you look under the, you take a look at the stats. 2 interceptions by Geno Smith, but both returned for touchdowns, contributing to 14 of the Bengals' 49-point score today.
9-5-1.
Second down and 9. First throw right here, and it was caught in front of Jones by David Nelson. Gain of 5. He's up to the 26.
Take a look at Matt Sims. He probably had as good a training camp as any of the quarterbacks for the New York Jets. Remember, Geno Smith was injured and hurt the later part of the preseason, and Mark Sanchez did not look good for the early part of preseason, and when Sims came in, the offense seemed to move much better than with any of the other quarterbacks.
3rd down and 4. Sudfield with his 2nd reception. DeMonch makes the stop. Gain of 5, up to the 31.
Matt Sims, of course, the younger brother of Chris Sims, played in the NFL, and the son of our CBS colleague, Phil Sims. knows a thing or two about flourishing in New York.
1st and 10. Howell on the Cologne block, or what was attempted to be a block and a gain of a yard. If you're Cincinnati, too, you've got to start worrying a little bit, Solomon, about keeping your frontline guys out there. So we've seen kind of a slow progression of taking some players out, giving the second and third teamers for Marvin Lewis some time on the field.
Remember, they came in with a roster spot open because Leon Hall, who's down, they have yet to really put him on IR, and they have yet to pick up another player. So you're not playing with 90 guys. This is not like college where you can do those kind of wholesale changes when you have such a big lead in a football game.
Sims on 2nd down and 9, chased by Pecco and chased by Johnson. Scampers out of bounds near the 35, and no gain on the play. Make it a gain of 3.
And again, the Bengals are going to have a short week. They'll be back in the building tomorrow. 3 days later, after today, they're going to board a plane to head down to Miami and play in a Thursday night game against the Dolphins. So it's in short order. Marvin Lewis has got to get his team ready.
I assume you think it's the right move to bring out Smith and put in Sims?
Absolutely, I agree. Just because you're not going to get better in moments like this. And for young quarterbacks, it's all about getting better.
It's on 3rd and 6. On the comeback, dropped by the receiver Nelson with the coverage on the play by Brandon G, who's out of Wake Forest. He's been inactive the last 3 games.
Brandon G is one of those other players that are going to get him into the game. That was a good play. He came in, was able to get a hand in there, get the ball away from David Nelson. And also seeing some of the other younger defensive back, Sean Williams, also in the game for the Bengals. They're on special teams.
Right. Dalton is probably going to come back in for Cincinnati as we see the punt from Quigley. And Tate bobbles the ball and then vacuums it back in. Changes pretty hard there. And then walloped on the play by Isaiah Trufant. -1 on the return. 49-yard punt. Looks like a new quarterback is coming in for the Bengals. Josh Johnson.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Cadillac.
New quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals is 5th-year veteran Josh Johnson. Played at San Diego. Restricted free agent with Cleveland, signed this year. 27 games played, 5 starts, most of that playing time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got a 1st and 10 at his 14, and they had some trouble on the exchange with Kyle Cook, the center. He picks up 2 as he brought it up to about the 16-yard line.
Josh Johnson coming in to play, had a really good training camp for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a really good player at University of San Diego. Now gets an opportunity to make some plays. Whenever you sit in your backup quarterback, this isn't garbage time for second-string quarterback. This is an opportunity to make some plays and show that you can move the offense and continue to be productive.
Garrett on 2nd down and 8. Wrapped up on the play. Quentin Coples makes the stop. He throws it for a loss of a yard, and here was a wonderful afternoon for Andy Dalton. Yeah,
you talk about being productive. That's what Andy Dalton has been for this football team over the last 3 weeks, including today. 5 touchdown passes, 4 to Marvin Jones. It's been like money in the bank. 300 yards passing again for the 3rd consecutive week for Andy Dalton.
A Bengal record, by the way, 6 touchdown passes by Carson Palmer. 5 today for Dalton with an interception in there. 2 pick sixes on Geno Smith. And Johnson takes it himself, crawling upfield with a gain of 4. Finally touched right there by Kenrick Ellis. That's not enough, they got a punt.
Yeah, he kind of tripped over one of his other players who were leading him up through the hole. That's why he was crawling along the ground. Looked like he had an opportunity for even a bigger game.
How about Andy Dalton, Solomon, passing now for more than 300 yards and more than 3 touchdowns or more in 3 consecutive games. Wonderful work. Huber, the punt. Ribs, 21-yard line. And Olsen Charles. He was a backup tight end. Makes the stop. Gain of 9. 59-yard punt. Another look at Sim. Beautiful night here in Cincinnati. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the Subway postgame show. JB and company with all the NFL news, scores, and highlights. That's next. Time permitting, the Subway postgame show from New York. First down and 10. Max Sims remains in the contest. Lines up and looks long, and it was deflected and incomplete. Deflected by Brandon G. Sims grew up in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Very close to our CBS studios, where we now join James Brown.
All right, boom, take a look. Redskins and Broncos.
Down 21-7. Denver comes back and scores 14 straight points right here. 4th and goal. 1-yard pass to Joel Dreesen from Peyton Manning. Game is now tied 21-21.
Early in the 4th, a lot of time remaining. Back to Kevin and Solomon.
Well, Broncos, after losing last week to Indianapolis, to get back on their horse and ride. Here's a 2nd and 10. Sims is going to get on his horse and ride. Sliding down inside the 47 to the 46. Scrambling for 22. As we mentioned, going to that spot with James Brown. He's from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Went to Don Bosco Prep. He was first-team All-State. They won the state title. They went 12-0. He initially enrolled Solomon at Louisville, redshirted freshman year, appeared in 2 games, went to El Camino Junior College, eventually finished things off at the University of Tennessee.
Taylor's got some baseball in his past because he knows how to slide.
He does. A lot of quarterbacks don't know that. Even the veterans outside for the former Green Bay Packer. That is Alex Green, who's chased out of bounds by Vincent Ray. Gain of 7. Clock at 7:28.
Sims has really good ability. Throws very well. He anticipates really well. I love his accuracy and arm strength. He has the potential, I think, to be a really good player. And obviously, he's going to have an opportunity to develop under Geno Smith playing for Rex Ryan.
On a 2nd down and 3, it's Green out of Hawaii. Brought down by Michael Johnson. And he plows ahead for a 1st down to the 31-yard line. Well, stepping back and just canvassing what the Jets have done, they're 4-4 at the midway point of the season. I don't know if there were a lot of people that predicted that they'd be at 500 midway through.
That's right. Obviously, and having already beaten the New England Patriots, having split with them. But clearly, there's room for improvement for Rex Ryan's group. I think he's brought them along very well. They will now have gone 10 wins without having back-to-back or consecutive wins. They seem to win one, lose one, so consistency is something they struggle with.
Hunt was coming up the middle. That's incomplete. Looking for Nelson. Looked like he twisted that ankle again. Coverage by Brandon G. Marcus Hunt was applying the pressure. The rookie out of SMU. He is a 2nd-round pick, and you mentioned this earlier for Marvin Lewis. That they've now won 3 games in team history by 40-plus points. Last time against the old Houston Oilers. This will be the 4th time if it stays at 40.
You talked about Marcus Hunt. He's the 2nd-round pick out of SMU, 6'8", 280. He's a good-looking player who they want to develop on the defensive line.
And looking for receiver Michael Campbell. That is incomplete. 3rd down and 10. Well, trying to get some.
Take a look at Hunt.
There he is. You know, he blocked 17 kicks when in college, and he set an NCAA record with 10 blocked field goals.
This kid is a heck of a track athlete from Estonia, right?
Northern European country, yes.
He is one heck of a player, and he can move, he can run. He's still trying to work to refine the fundamentals and techniques at his position, but he's learning from some really good coaches here in Cincinnati.
Matt Sims facing 3rd down and 10. Look out from behind, and down he goes, eating the ball, and it's a sack right there from James Harrison. 4th sack today, registered by the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Back to the 32.
And take a look at Harrison working against Prickashaw Ferguson. Might say Sims held on to that one a little bit too long. Got to get out of there. Harrison's going to track you down eventually. He's been a huge addition. Everyone looks at maybe the stat sheet and say, well, does he help this team? He gives them the leadership in their locker room. He's been a really good teammate. You talk to many of the players and coaches here in Cincinnati. Yeah, he's been a real good example of leadership for their football team.
4th and 11 for Sims. Yet again, bounces out, springs free. A long way to go. He's got to get to the 21, and he hurdles with a chance to get there, and he'll be close. How about that on 4th and 11? Matt Sims goes airborne, and it looks like he is going to be a little bit shot.
No baseball slide here. He wanted himself first down.
Oh,
Throw that body around a little bit. That ball's right on the marker. Brandon G comes up with a tackle there.
It's an unofficial mark on the far side because the chains were on the near side. They're going to have to make the journey to the far. Now we'll get a more. That was 4th and 11, and they're going to be short. So it will go to Cincinnati on downs. He came close, though, and gave it a great effort with the hurdle, but a little bit shy. 5:13 to play.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Try the Tuscan Chicken Melt $6 footlong special today. And by Mercedes-Benz and the all-new CLA.
Pretty shot of downtown Cincinnati in the background and some other visitors. First down and 10 after missed run there by Sims. It's Pierman who runs and tries to find some room. Picks up 3 on the play. And he'll be brought down to the 24 and hit there by Sheldon Richardson. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS has doubleheader action. First, Alex Smith lead the Chiefs against Fred Jackson and the Bills. Or Phillip Rivers and the Chargers challenge RG3 and Washington. Then it's Big Ben and Brady. Steelers and Patriots. Check the local listings for the game and time in your area. And it all begins with JB, Dan, Shannon, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Second down and 7. Johnson handing off. And Cedric Pierman, who's out of UVA, way by Detroit back in 10, picks up 5 right there. He hasn't had an offensive touch in the first 7 games. He's been a very good special teams performer for these Bengals.
Oh, he's a hard runner. Saw him hit the hole there with authority, and you could hear the pop of the pads from here.
3rd down and 2. Johnson needs the 32, has the first down. He got by Ellis, leading his way for the first. Brought down by Copels, gain of 10 on the play up to the 39. And the clock continues to tick.
What I like about Johnson, not only his mobility, you can tell he's got good feel for the offense. You could see the athleticism protecting that football, but he's bleeding as much time off the clock before he snaps the ball as well.
Bengals are going to win their 4th consecutive game. Record to go to 6-2. Jets will be 4 up and 4 down. First and 10 from the 39. Collins trying to provide a block, and then the avalanche of whites on him. Josh Bush leading the brigade, loss of 4. To New York and James Brown.
Oh, how quickly Denver can score.
Well, points are coming fast, JB. 21 unanswered right after this screen pass to Noshawn Moreno. 35 yards. Denver takes the lead, 28-21. RG3 was just sacked. He fumbled, and Denver recovered the football.
Solly was that fast back in his day, right?
Yeah, I think he was. He's part of the SWAT team back in the day.
I got you. Kevin and Solomon.
Boomer remembers.
Pierman on 2nd down and 14 with a gain of 2 up to the 39. So these Bengals with an impressive win. Their quarterback threw 5 touchdown passes. One of their receivers, Marvin Jones, caught 4 touchdown passes. And touchdown drive, Solomon, of 29, 68, 80, 86, 74 yards. I mean, they did it all, and they held the Jets to 3 field goals.
Look at Dalton. He's the first quarterback taken in the second round since the Bengals took Boomer Esiason in the '84 draft.
Good one.
Hit a home run there, didn't they?
We're at the 2-minute warning. 3rd down and 10 for Josh Johnson and the Bengals. Cedric Bierman takes it up. Met by Damon Harrison with a gain of 3 to the 42. Bringing up 4th down.
Still think if you're the Jets, you step back from this game. They're going to be 4-4 at the halfway mark, right at 500, and you got to continue to build. And what I think you got to do, you got to continue to put more weapons around Geno Smith on offense. The defense, I think, has played very well. They had a real letdown today, Kevin. They gave up 28 points the first half of today's game, and they couldn't contain Andy Dalton and this explosive offense, and they got to be able to expect more out of their defense.
Kevin Huber, who played at Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati, grew up in Cincinnati. That baby's going to die at about the 7th. Trey Kirkpatrick was down there, a beautiful 52-yard punt. Huber has had a terrific day. All 3 of his punts over 50 yards. He's the number 11 net punter in the NFL coming in to today. Well, Marvin Lewis winning this battle, his 11th season as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, and it looks like they've got something special going. Looks like the division is going to be the big challenge. A couple of the teams on the radar, certainly Kansas City, Denver.
Yeah.
But this is a very strong group, especially on the defensive end.
Well, they were pleased in their last home game when they beat the Patriots and snapped that touchdown streak of Tom Brady's. But this is their, by far, most complete game of the 2013 season.
Green from Sims with a block on the outside by Campbell, the wide receiver, and brought down on the play by Williams. Gain of 9 on the play. The Bengal lead, with Baltimore being idle, will be 2.5 games in the North.
Give Marvin Lewis a lot of credit. You know, since he's come to these Cincinnati Bengals, he's changed the face of the organization, and can't say enough about what he's done in the community through his charitable foundations, and the giving that he has done in the Cincinnati area has been phenomenal. He's gotten it done both on and off the field.
Here's Green on 2nd down and 1. Marcus Hunt and others making the stop. Gain of 3. The Jets will be 2 games now in back of the New England Patriots, who won today. And the Jets, no one, I don't think, saw this one coming, especially Rex Ryan. Last night, very confident with him and his rookie quarterback. But it was a tough afternoon.
I thought that, in fact, the Jets believed they could come in here and win a physical battle against Marvin Lewis's Cincinnati Bengals. In fact, it was the Bengals who landed the overhand right early to take the Jets out of this one.
Andy Dalton, the quarterback, with 5 touchdown passes. He was picked off once. The 5 a career high, 325 yards. He hit Marvin Jones for 4 of those touchdown passes. Jones had 122 yards. A.J. Green had 115. And the Bengals beat quite handily the Jets 49-9. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. So for Solomon Wilcox, Kevin Harlan saying good night from Cincinnati. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.